Well, hello everybody and welcome back. It's Pit Road Productions here and we're live for WDCR SCCA Virtual Racing League with a special event on the books today. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here for the Kurd Derby special event. We're going to have a little bit of a mix-up today. Certainly it's going to be a lot of fun and I'm definitely looking forward to it. They're outside of the usual BMW M2 that they've been getting so accustomed to. This time rocking some of the older iRacing machinery of the Cadillac CTSV and the Porsche 911 Cup. So certainly very challenging cars to drive, but let's take a very quick look at the usual schedule. Rob, if you'd like to do the honors.
Certainly. Well, we've gotten through 4 rounds already, Zippy, and as you mentioned, we're on round 5 here at Road America. So I think it's about the midway point. We've got the special Kurd Derby thrown in here tonight with a couple of challenging cars, so we'll see how that goes. But next week, we're back on the usual schedule, back to Mid-Ohio with the M2s, and we head off to Detroit to Belle Isle, Virginia International Raceway. Should be a great one there, a Sebring, and finish out at Road Atlanta. Really great tracks to finish off the series here, Zippy. So looking forward to a couple of those tracks coming up, especially the last 3 on the schedule there, VIR, Sebring, and Road Atlanta. A couple of real highlight tracks there.
Absolutely, and Rob, I've got to say they are definitely the princess-approved tracks here in the world of Zippy. There, certainly for the last round, I do believe that you may have Richard Swindells joining you in the booth for commentary. You can produce it, and I'm going to go and drive that one. I don't think Richard Swindells knows he's going to be in the booth yet, but we'll work it out. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'd love to get you two in the booth together. Certainly be a lot of fun. The 2 seasoned gentlemen of the Pit Road Productions crew. But certainly it's good to see you back, Rob. Certainly we did miss you on Saturday, and certainly with that haircut, I can understand why. I mean, you know, it's definitely valid. But let's try and find one of these cars on board even, see if we can get a lap. And we're going to try and do maybe a lap with each of these guys because we've got the 2 different cars. I kind of want to give you a little bit of a variety here. So let's see. Look at that. Perfect timing there, Rob. Perfect timing. Do the honors, sir.
Yeah, it looks like we're in one of the Porsche Cup cars with, it looks like Chris Harp heading through turn 1, through turn 2, which is basically just a little kink in the track, into turn 3. Really the first real heavy braking section. Turn 1 is kind of high speed, so you don't really need to get high in the binders there. But turn 1, turn 3, real great overtaking opportunities underneath the cheese bridge. Through turn 5 down the hill will bring us into turn 6. Real opportune overtaking spot here, Zippy. This is where we'll see a lot of the big passes placed here. But with these 2 cars, neither one of them have ABS, and I believe the Cadillac might have traction control, but the Porsche Cup doesn't. So it'll be real interesting to see these drivers getting the cars wound down for these corners and then getting back on the throttle as early as they can. But into the middle section of the track, another possible overtaking opportunity here before you head into the kink and the carousel. One of the most popular and famous parts of the track here is Zippy, under the Speedville Bridge. Really kind of almost full throttle for some cars through this section, but the 2 cars we're featuring tonight, you have to do a little bit of a light lift through there, and just to kind of keep it on track, not drift out wide. But here comes the most famous corner on the track, the kink. A little lift for both of these cars through there, and then hammer back down on the throttle, heading towards Canada Corner. Probably one of the probably the second most opportunistic areas on the track to make an overtake. So we'll see a lot of pass attempts here. Real tight, hard right-hander into turn, I believe that's 12. They call it 12A, 12B through this section. Real tight left-hander here, and then we got one more turn to complete the lap, and then a run up through the front straight. And that'll be a quick little lap here in the Porsche Cup at Road America. I suspect sometime around 207s, 208s, maybe in the Porsche Cup. We'll see here tonight, Zippy. But I'm looking at the standings right now. It looks like these 2 cars are very comparable as far as lap times. It'll be interesting to see how the 2 classes kind of intermingle here tonight.
Well, certainly that was something that I was discussing with Ken Housel a little bit earlier on, was certainly how evenly balanced that these cars are indeed going to be, and that's one of the Porsches out on the run. Let's see if we can grab Anthony Montello. Actually, let's try and find somebody a little bit nearer the start of the lap. He's pretty close, but I want somebody right at the start, so we're going to flick through here. Try and find Adam Kobach. He's getting near the end. Yeah, we can give Adam Kobach a little bit of screen time. Gave a little bit of a chance just to check out some of the other cars here on the grid, and certainly going to be a lot of fun. We've got some nice static cameras here today as well, so certainly going to make good use of that. I did notice that the Porsche was doing about 160 mile an hour. Okay, that was a little bit deep. The Porsche was doing about 160 mile an hour as it went down there. The Cadillac, again, very comparable, but we're going to see as they're going around... I had the name of this corner in my head earlier. That's Canada corner.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Rob is going to shoot me, and understandably so. Certainly... no, I'm not going there. Yeah. Anyway, moving on, as they're going to head around at the final corner. And certainly, you know, it really comes down to a lot of driver preference. I did actually take the Caddy for a spin a little bit this week and absolutely catastrophically failed. But let's get a little bit of an onboard here with Adam Koback.
Yeah, Zippy, we see CTS now in comparison to the Porsche Cup. I think comparable as far as top speed times. I think the Porsche Cup actually got a little more top end on it, but I believe the CTS being a former, wasn't IMSA at that time, what was it, ALMS that the Cadillac CTS-V would have been featured in. So it's got a little more aerodynamics, basically a kind of like a first-gen GT3 type car without the ABS and traction. Well, I guess traction without the ABS, so real comparable times here. But we're heading here with Adam Koback as he now heads down into turn 5 and 6 again. Opportune overtaking position on the track. We'll see a lot of the first pass attempts here. We'll also see probably a lot of cars run deep into the kitty litter off track there. Hopefully they can keep it off the wall, as it's easy to run out real deep and wide and tag that wall. But through the first little kink here, this in most cars is more or less flat out, maybe a light lift in the Cadillac, as it's a little bit of an older girl here on track, Zippy, as far as your princess approvals go. And I don't know if that's only for tracks, if you have princess approved cars too as well, but this one definitely might be fit for the queen, not the princess. But heading into the carousel here, the old CTS-V, see Adam Koback tries to bring it out wide and then kind of double apex the last corner to get back in the throttle in through the kink. See if he lifts a little bit. Looks like mile per hour stays a light lift through the kink there, and then back heavy onto the throttle. So he dropped about 5 or 6 miles per hour through there. Just kind of keep it gathered up and into Canada corner, braking about the 4 marker somewhere in there, turning hard into the right hand. Not a whole lot of runoff on the left side. You get in that gravel, it's easy to lose the back end and kind of swing the back end around into that right side wall. Very easy. So a couple corners there. Adam going to come around to finish up his lap. We'll see what kind of lap time he puts in. Currently, I believe he is sitting, what is he sitting? 8th overall in the CTS. That's 4th and 5th in class right now. So we'll see if he's able to improve.
Well, certainly a very valiant effort, but we're going to go on board with Jack Chrissy, who I believe has just finished a lap. He went purple in 2 sectors, and yeah, that's put him up all the way into P2. Incredible time, ladies and gentlemen. And as we look at the standings, we literally have Cadillac, Porsche, 3 Cadillacs, 2 Porsches, a Cadillac again, a whole sea of Porsches, and then a couple more Caddies. It really is a very eclectic field. Certainly, you know, it's a hard one to call, despite this is a multi-class race. It's not shaping out to be at this point. Very much depends who's driving kind of scenario.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see it, because we've got some of the fast guys in the Cadillacs. We got some of the fast guys that we've seen at the top of standings in the Porsche too as well. Let's see, Colin Denner is currently leading the Porsches. We've seen him up top of the podium's results of most of the races. Jack Chrissy, we've seen him being fast, but suffer some unfortunate incidents for the most part. But he's currently in 2nd as we ride along with him in the Cadillac. So we'll see how it. Jack Christie's in the Porsche. We got 2 Porsches now up in the top 3 as Colin Denner moves up into the 3rd spot. So, but we got Montello brothers looking strong in the Cadillacs, up on the top 5 for the Cadillacs. So it'll be interesting to see. Like I said, a lot of our usual suspects as far as the top of the podium standings kind of intermingled around there with a couple different cars.
Well, certainly it is going to be a very interesting race, but we can't do any of this without the help of the sponsors. So we're going to go through a quick read through them, and we're going to mix up the order a little bit as well today. So ladies and gentlemen, RP Performance is located right in the heart of racing at Summit Point's Gasoline Alley. RP is the only premier race car shop that specializes in both street and track Mazdas. RP Performance is known... I've lost my place now. It's known for all its help all attitude, and works at getting cars back on track for a positive experience at all Summit Point events. Certainly, Summit Point Raceway on the Princess Approved track list, ladies and gentlemen. In its 30 years, RP has accrued many wins and championships within various classes with all age drivers under the RP Performance banner. In addition to track sport and transport, RP is a full-service shop helping drivers with their individual racing and other track event needs. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to find them, 103 Gasoline Alley, Unit 12 at Summit Point, West Virginia.
Yeah, and another sponsor we have is OG Racing. OG Racing carries what you need to get on the track, from driving suits to shoes to helmets and data and video systems to your favorite brake pads, performance, friction, hawk, and package. OG Racing has built its reputation for the last 22 years by providing the best customer service in motorsports business. Their in-depth inventory is second to none when it comes to safety equipment, and that's why they've been the highest volume Sparco distributor for 17 years. It's not just their warehouse, it's their website. It's in Sterling, Virginia. Their 12,000 square foot warehouse has almost everything you need to get on track.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, another one of the sponsors is going to be these lovely people here at Belmont Classic Cars, which is a family-owned classic and collector car dealership located in Eastern Ohio, mainly specializing in 1960s and 70s American muscle. And actually, I'm having a very quick browse right now, and quite the collection there. I see a 89 Chevy S10 Blazer with 120,000 miles. For just short of 20 grand USD, which, to be honest, that's pretty cool, pretty retro. I love the wheels on it. I did see a Mustang in here as well. Just 1971 Chevy Nova with 68,000 miles for 45k. That's a pretty sweet looking ride. But for me, definitely going to turn some heads. A 1967 Ford Mustang, 33k, 37,000 miles on it. Is it a stick or is it a manual? It's an automatic. Well, for now, it's an automatic. But ladies and gentlemen, if you want to go and check them out, Belmont Classic Cars, go and give them a look. Owners Andy and Dana Mistak came by their love of cars naturally, with both their fathers being avid car enthusiasts. So certainly, you're not just buying from somebody who wants to sell you a car, you're buying from somebody who cares about cars, ladies and gentlemen. As I do believe we have one more sponsor to mention there, Rob.
Yeah, I don't know if Belmont's going to make a sale off you or not this season, Dippy, but definitely you're checking their inventory every week. But our last sponsor, Radial Tire. Since 1976, Radial Tire Company has been providing the Washington DC area with quality tires and the finest service. They've earned a reputation as premier specialists in hard-to-find performance tire and wheel applications. They stock tires from all the top manufacturers for whatever you drive, from small economy cars to SUVs and trucks. Their mission is to assist you in getting the most out of your tires and your car. That's Radial Motorsport. Radial Motorsport, Radial Tire Company.
Well, certainly, again, a huge thanks to them for sponsoring the WDCA. Oh my gosh. I can't even. WDCR SCCA. I will admit, though, that certainly I am almost forgiven, certainly, there for getting the acronyms confused. There's only 8 letters I've got to try and remember, ladies and gentlemen. Let's be real. Memory is not my strongest point, and maybe not on, I guess, processing power either. Certainly, my mentally capacity, the computer's actually rocking pretty badass at the minute. But certainly, we say that. We've got Franz Hansen coming in over the qualifying lap. He did go green in a couple of sectors, currently in P4 in class. We'll see if he can improve, and he does. He moves it up to P3 in class, and overall, P5.
Yeah, nice run by Franz there. We'll see how he fares in the race, but we're getting down to the tail end of qualifying, Zippy, with only 5 seconds to go. So unless our driver's about to cross the line, this is pretty much where they're going to settle in for the start of the grid.
Yep, and I'm inclined to completely agree with you there, sir. Certainly, it was a very fun qualifying session, albeit it was a solo quali, which, I kind of would have liked to have seen him out actually mixing that up. But let's take a quick look there at the qualifying results that we got so far. Well, you can see that in P1 we had Jack Chrissy. He's in one of the Porsches. Actually, wait a second here. Oh my gosh, it is all mixed up. So this is overall. Okay, all right. I've got to read it off this one. So in first place, we got Tom O'Gorman. This is so confusing. I can't even read my... Can you read that from there, Rob? Yeah, I can't read it. you do the honors, sir.
Yeah, we got Tom O'Gorman going to start up top in the Cadillac CTS VR. Then we're going to have a couple Porsches and Jack Chrissy and Colin Denner in second and third. Michael Montello will be a second Cadillac on the grid in fourth. Fran Hansen's in fifth. Adam Kobach and Anthony Montello are going to take up sixth and seventh. Ken Housel in eighth. Mike S. Leader, not a dentist, in ninth. Kevin Zoo's going to round out the top 10. And then we find Wally In 11th, Jonathan Crane. In 12th, Reed Shanabrook. In 13th, Chris Harp. In 14th, Ido Waxam. In 15th, Louis Lacey. In 16th, Albert Ngo. In 17th, William Bruner. In 18th, Will Long is going to start 19th, and Eddie Ketkarakis is going to round out the top 20. And then we find John Holloway, Cameron Guth are going to start 21st and 22nd, and then we'll see if Jarrett Page reaches the grid in 23rd with no time.
Well, certainly some very interesting results here. I'm just experimenting a little bit here to see if something's a little bit different. And nope, it shows the same if I do that. So I'm not quite sure exactly how that's worked out. I think maybe a little bit. Well, it's actually our first time ever doing a multi-class here on Pit Road Productions. This is as I was getting ready for the show. I'm like, okay, and you know, where it's a one-off event as well, certainly a different set of challenges there, but it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm certainly looking forward to it, and I love actually how eclectic the grid is. I mean, like, looks like we just got one or two cars. Eddie Kedarakis, we're waiting for to grid right now, and I believe he may have missed it. He's been bumped down to the bottom, and yep, no, we are going, ladies and gentlemen.
And it looks like we're actually gridding by class too as well, Zippy. It looks like all the Porsches are going to start ahead of the Cadillacs in this one. So it'll be interesting to see if our quicker Cadillac drivers are able to quickly maneuver through the field here. That's probably what threw your qualifying results for a skew there.
Yeah, certainly I've been trying to find the magic button, and believe me, I found a lot of buttons, but not the ones I was looking for, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, you know, it's definitely a little bit of a mix-up, but we do have a new graphic for you today. Look at that. You can see who's going to be leading each class. We're going to leave that up there for now. Certainly a first for us here at Pit Road Productions. You know, multi-class racing. You know, we did expect to just hit a button and things would fall into place. And for the most part, they did. But the timing tower not quite being as cooperative as we would have liked. And certainly, you know, where these cars are so similarly balanced as well, I'm kind of interested to see where it's going to work out. It's going to be very, very interesting indeed.
Yeah, we'll have to see if some drivers go for, I don't want to say not battling from one class to the other, because they really don't have a whole lot to gain by battling a car that's not in their class, but they're going to be of similar speed. So it's not like they can really just let the other car go and just going to watch them walk away from them, Zippy. It's going to be a matter of, you know, if I let you go, are you actually going to be able to pull far enough away, or are you going to actually be holding me up? So interesting to see how the kind of semantics of the two classes here play out, and I'm really interested to see this. It's a combination I've never actually seen, the Cadillac CTS and the Porsche Cup. I've seen the Porsche Cup kind of thrown in multi-class with various other car classes. You see it a lot with the TCRs, the GT4s, occasionally with like the Miata and the GR86, where there's, you know, a large discrepancy in speed amongst them, but these two cars being very close in time, it's going to be real interesting. I suspect we're going to see probably a couple incidents here that may result from the two classes being so similarly matched up.
Oh, certainly. You know what? I'm really looking forward to it. And what we have done, ladies and gentlemen, is we've added a manufacturer logo there as well. So you don't just have the colors to go off, you also have the logo there as well, just to try and make it clear, ladies and gentlemen, because let's be real, we got a lot more going on today. Usually we just got one class of car, actually one car brand complete, ladies and gentlemen, not just one class. So certainly, you know, definitely a bit of a mix-up. And I've got to agree with you, Rob. I have never seen this combination. Certainly, I've got to be honest, I think I would want to drive this, but when it comes down to it, you know, are you going to be a Porsche guy or a Caddy guy? And as much as I like the European machine, you know what? I think I'd be taking the Caddy out on this occasion.
I'd probably agree with you. I've driven both cars quite a bit, but I haven't driven the Cadillac so much lately. But occasionally when the series with the Cadillac and the Kia, I believe it is, go to one of the more popular tracks, I like to jump in and drive the Cadillac. And it's fast. It's a fast car, but it will bite you if you start shifting down through the gears in a braking section too quick. The rear end will lock up quickly on you, as zippy and around you'll go. And that's definitely not what any of our drivers want to see happen tonight, where the Porsche is a little more compliant as far as that, is a little more of a modern race machine, where the Cadillac is, I say, probably about 10 years old, maybe even older as far as in comparison to the Porsche.
Well, certainly I did actually take the Caddy out with that Kia combination at Long Beach this week, which is not a Princess-approved track, but I'm like, screw it, I'll do it anyway for entertainment on my stream, and yeah, I definitely delivered on that. I went and sent it round and got completely murdered on lap one, and then About 2 minutes to the end, I went to stuck it in the wall again, just for good measure, ladies and gentlemen. But here we are. The pace car has gone in. Rob, do you want to keep an eye on the caddies? I'm going to keep an eye on the Porsches right now as green. Ladies and gentlemen, we are off and running. You can already see there, they did separate the grid out just a little bit, and it looks like Colin Denner trying to make a move there on Franz Hansen.
Yeah, Denner looking for a quick move, but we've got the Cadillacs heading to the start-finish line now, Zippy. And they're about to get underway with Tom O'Gorman and Michael Montella leading them around. So pick them up here, and there they go. O'Gorman and Montella going to lead them around. Looks like that is Tom O'Gorman going to hold on to his pole spot into turn one. He gets a huge jump over Go Back and Montello.
You can already see these caddies are fighting hard. The number 96 machine of Michael Montello on the inside line there, and he is already there under pressure. You can see there right behind him, I believe that's Adam Kobach, who we saw earlier. These guys trying to get into single file as quickly as they can, generally getting it pretty sorted out. As we're going to have a look quick at the front as well. The Porsches are still going. A little bit of contact there going in the back as Jack Chrissy currently in the lead with Colin Denner in second and Franz Hansen in third.
Yeah, a couple guys we are used to seeing out front. Jack Chrissy and Colin Denner are mixing the two names up there together, but we're seeing just behind them Franz Hansen and Ken Housel. Ken, another usual suspect at the front, trying to put some pressure on Franz here early on as they head through the carousel. See the varying lines there. Franz holding it a little tighter to the inside curbing, and Ken Housel lets it drift out a little bit, try and maximize the exit speed. Looks like worked out a little better for Ken as he's able to pick up more speed in through the kink. But it looks like Hansen was able to hold on to a little more speed through the kink. He pulled a car length away from Housel into the braking section of Canada corner. Housel not able to make a move, using up a little curb and the grass on the inside. Keeps it going, and see the rest of the Porsche Cup field coming through Canada corner there. Everybody keeping it on track. They're still on cold tires here, so these cars, both cars, very knife edge on cold tires, Zippy. So well done by everybody keeping the car on the track so far.
Well, actually, I've got to say, it looks like they've been keeping it clean so far. As I've got to admit, while the Porsche is definitely no slouch, this Cadillac sounds like a absolute bucket of nails being exploded at an alarming rate, as you can hear the mighty V8 absolutely not just roaring but screaming past, ladies and gentlemen, as it looks like this is the closest battle going on in the caddies. The field's starting to spread out a little bit, and as we've seen Mike Leader and Anthony Montello, certainly some very bright, beautiful paints here today. You can see if we look on the rear end of Anthony Montello, there's Mike Leader in the background in the number 53 machine, and we're seeing that draft is indeed a little bit potent there. Not as potent as some of the other cars like a Spec Racer Ford, for instance, but certainly doing enough as they head down into turn one. Mike Leader closes that gap down to about 0.3 of a second.
Yeah, Leader trying to look inside of Montello. They're trying to put a lot of pressure. I'm not sure what version of the tires the Cadillac are on, but they're a few versions old, so a little bit of different tire too as well, Zippy, here for our Cadillac drivers to contend with versus the newer tire model that the Porsche Cup is sporting out there tonight. So it'll be interesting to see. Also, the draft parameters, I think, are a little different. The Cadillac can have a little wider draft margin as we pick up a replay here of Wally. It's like Wally looking to the inside there. It could be a little bit of net code there. Just throws the front of Wally off. He's going to collect up I think that was a 6 or 8 car there, and they're going to get themselves sorted back out. Unfortunate there, early incident, but looks like they're both going to get back on track with only minimal damage.
I do believe he may have locked up a little bit. I remember watching Sam Soyd one day, and he did tell me there's like a little bit of a bump there just as you head up that left-hander there, just a couple of corners ago. But certainly we can see here the battle at the minute in the Cadillac Legion is actually a bit of a freeway battle now between Adam Kobach, Anthony Montello, and Mike Leader. That seems to be where the action is at, certainly in the Cadillac range, ladies and gentlemen. Tom Gorman currently pulling away, absolutely doing everything he can. Michael Montello actually sitting very well in the Cadillac, but there, freeway battle, almost a four-way battle, ladies and gentlemen. Albert Nago looking to try and catch onto the back of that as we're going to head back to the Porsches. And at the front, it's Colin Denner with Jack Chrissy in second and Ken Housel in third.
Yeah, it looks like Denner managed to find a way around Jack Chrissy. Maybe we can pick up that replay a little later on, but Denner out front now. He's got Chrissy and Ken Housel in tow. Looks like Housel got around Hansen as well. So a little bit of movement and shaking in the top 4 of Porsche Cup. So we'll see if they're able to pull away. Looks like Hansen falling back off that 3 some out front. He's now into the clutches of Kevin Zhu. Kevin Zhu a driver who we've mentioned a few times, usually in and around a lot of the excitement in these races, but he's got himself in 5th in Porsche Cup right now. So good run for Kevin to start out as we're on board with Jack Christie as he's trying to chase down Colin Denner up ahead, try and retake his pole position for this race.
Well,
So Denner going to hold him off now into turn 5, Zippy.
My apologies, Rob. We're going to stay with him for just a moment. I have found that replay for us to see exactly where this position change happened. And certainly Jack Christie, incredibly fast, actually really almost being tailgated at this point by the car behind him of Ken Housel, certainly putting in everything he can. And was that just me, or did I see like a cheeky graphic on the side of Ken Housel's car? I have to keep an eye on that. I felt sure. No, it's just an anime lady. I thought it was something a little bit more cheeky. Certainly, both of us knowing Richard Swindells, we wouldn't have ruled out the possibility of somebody having a little bit of fun with us in the paint booth. But certainly, it is a freeway battle right now. But let's take a quick look at that replay to see how the lead for the Porsches was redecided. Oh, looks like Christie went off.
Christie went wide, yeah. And Denner was able to take advantage of that. Like that was turn 5. So I'm not sure what happened. Christie must have got deep into that corner, Zippy, and he was able to gather it up though without going off wide, which is really what happens most of the time. You go deep into turn 5. But we're on board here with Anthony Montello. Montello is currently in 15th spot. He's got Mike Not a Dentist leader up ahead of him in 14th spot overall, but that works out to, I think, it's a battle for 4th overall in the Cadillac class.
Well, certainly it is incredibly tight, and the Caddy, it looks like you can have quite a big gap for the amount of seconds. So certainly these cars are pretty quick, certainly in comparison to the Beamers. These are a lot more machine, and I do find as well definitely a little bit sensitive, and I'm going to be interested to see how it works out in the later stages of the race, because tire degradation in these cars, they're so big, they're so heavy, certainly something that I would keep in mind.
Yeah, it's definitely going to play a role here as the race goes on. But to pick up Jonathan Crane, Jonathan in 6th place. He's got William Brunner hot on his rear bumper. So these two guys, Jonathan up 1 spot, William up 3 spots from where he qualified. So strong run for the two of them so far. They're trying to chase down Kevin Zhu up ahead, but I think they're about 5 seconds back. So Kevin's got a little bit of a, excuse me, comfortable cushion there over those two drivers. But looks like Brunner not set to let Crane run away from him at this point, using up all the track, and then some as the cars kicking up dust in the background.
Well, it could be the cars, it could be the drivers, certainly it could even be the commentator alongside me in the commentary booth, ladies and gentlemen, but there is battles happening throughout the field. Actually, we're going to return to the lead because it looks like Jack Christie is going at it again. He's dropped back into 3rd, and now Ken Housel's looking side by side. That was incredibly close as they head around the long sweeping right-hander there. Almost a little bit of an elevation change as well, and Christie is able to hold on, albeit only just incredibly close racing action as they head around the kink.
Yeah, that was a tight battle. Oh, we see Chrissy and Hauser both going off into the grass for the king. They both collected up. How neither one of them made it into the side of the wall there, I will never know. But Ken Hauser close enough, he could put his lips on the back of Jack Christie's rear bumper there. So these two are battling hard. We usually see Ken up top of the standings there. Christie, as I mentioned early on, usually quick, but usually suffers some kind of little incident. We've seen him go off track a couple times here, be able to gather it up. So we'll see if Christie's able to hold on to it and stay up front for this one. But they're starting to let Franz Hansen back into this battle. He's starting to pull away from Kevin Zhu in behind. They keep battling side by side, Zippy. We could see Franz back as a potential issue with these two to take over 2nd, possibly 3rd, even up to Colin Denner. He's not that far ahead of them.
Yeah, well, the biggest thing they got to do is try and make sure that they do stay with the number 73 car of Colin Denner. As much as they want to battle, if he gets away, I think that's going to be it. And certainly, you know, these drivers are all pretty switched on. You know, they're going to be very aware of the incoming threat behind him, as you're saying, of Franz Hansen and Kevin Zhu right there in tow. And I've got to say, probably my favorite Porsche livery on the grid is the Roxy. Is it Roxy? No, Rexy replica livery. Like, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see there, he's currently sat back in 5th, holding steady. But again, that battle developing a little bit further back between William Brunner and Jonathan Crane.
Yeah, these two still battling it out for 6th overall there, Zippy. So a real tight battle between the two of them. But starting to creep into the background of that battle is Chris Harp. He's sneaking up on the back of William Brunner. So we see him closing in that gap. I'm not sure. Well, I thought that for a second that said tacos on his rear bumper. I got excited as
Yes,
I'm a
please.
genuine lover of tacos, any kind of Taco Bell, taco theme, Del Mar. You throw that up. Oh,
Oh, big
and
wiggle from Housel.
gathers it up. I thought for sure that he was a goner there, but he was able. Maybe he had that anime girl on the side of his paint reach out and grab the little bit of grass.
As long as it was the
On
grass she reached out and grabbed there, Rob. Certainly, I'm having a hard time keeping a straight face. Certainly, some camera angles, I've got to admit, are, yeah, we'll leave it at that, ladies and gentlemen. But it looks like the battle has got even closer between these two drivers. It's William Brummer and Chris Harp. No, my apology, William Brunner and Jonathan Crane, ladies and gentlemen, as we got the cameraman standing very close to the fence, I might add. Incredible talent there from our camera crew, but what an absolutely fantastic battle. I've got to say, Jonathan Crane definitely not winning the award for the most vibrant paint, albeit the color choice is pretty bold. Certainly, you know, definitely a private entry at this point, but if you look off the gearbox of him, you see Brunner's doing everything he can. He just needs to get a nice clean corner exit. I see a little bit of sparks there as they go around the final turn.
Yeah, Jonathan Crane may not be driving the most realistic paint scheme, but he definitely can claim that his car was bright enough that if anybody hits him, Zippy, they really had no reason to. But as we see Brunner trying to make a move on the inside of Crane into turn one, we'll see if Crane's able to hold off at the outside. So he's going to give up that spot to Brunner, tuck in behind, and see if the two of them move forward. Oh,
big wiggle!
another similar wiggle to what we saw Ken Housel have to gather up in the kink earlier on, but Brunner is well able to gather it in. So both drivers showing some real skill in the Porsche Cup out here.
I think skill is definitely involved, but I think there's also a little bit of luck there. And to quote my good friend Mike Piecco, you know, I think there may be some premium wheelbases going on like that. As you can see, it looks like Jonathan Crane's there going up on the inside. Chris Harp lurking in the background as Crane gets ahead. But for how long? Brunner already trying to make the over-under maneuver, and Chris Harp has got a front row seat for this battle, ladies and gentlemen. They are getting closer as they go side by side. Yet again, this is exactly what the 462 of Chris Harp is going to be looking for, as he has now got that gap to half a second.
Yeah, Harp is definitely involved in this battle now. We're starting to see Will Long creep into the picture in behind Harp there too, as well, as we see like Long kind of had a connection issue for a second. But this battle is now a three-way battle for sixth spot overall, which is also sixth spot in the Porsche Cup class. I'm surprised. I thought we'd see some of the Cadillacs intermingle with the Porsches by now, Zippy, but they're kind of a little farther back. So we'll see if maybe towards the end of the race we get a little more overlap between the classes. But right now, Tom O'Gorman still ahead in the field with Michael Montello in second, Adam Kobach third. Mike, not a dentist leader, trying to make a move on Kobach now. He's managed to close down that gap. We saw it was about 2 or 3 seconds earlier on, but leader doing well to close down on the back of Kobach.
Well, certainly one thing I find particularly interesting about this Cadillac is there's a lot of carbon fiber in this car, and you know what? I think back then that wasn't really as mainstream. Certainly that would have been groundbreaking technology, especially for General Motors, ladies and gentlemen. But Mike Leader and Adam Kobach, they are really the entertainment right now in the Cadillac grid. And certainly, you know what? That gap is indeed getting smaller. As you can see there, he's got to really get a nice clean exit as he ran around the final turn. Certainly, with a lot of weight on the nose of these cars, I am very interested to see how it's going to work out in the later races. I do expect we're going to see some incidents of people going off track with the tyres getting a little bit too warm, as this may be the chance that Leader gets. You know, he's got the slipstream. Is he going to be able to make it stick? He's put a nose out, ladies and gentlemen. He's going for it. No, just to doing a little bit of a tease right now, not just for the Adam Kobach ahead, but for us here in the commentary booth.
Yeah, Leader giving him a little how do you do, letting him know he's still back there. Kind of in the words of in Days of Thunder, he had Cole Trickle and Rowdy Burns, the old remember me wave from the rearview mirror behind. But it's a blast from a pass in a car that's a blast from a pass in this Cadillac. But we see Leader looking to the inside. Again, he's going to try and make the move into turn 5. I think he's going to have it this time, Zippy. He's got the inside line.
Well, you say that. Look at the glowing brake discs there. You see a little bit of a wiggle there from Mike Leader, and Kobach not quite able to answer it back, but definitely got a very beautiful wide line, as I do believe that may be a cow on the side of Mike Leader's car. Certainly he's not the dentist today. Ladies and gentlemen, he may have indeed got into being a butcher, or maybe, you know, he just likes cheese, and, you know, it's about getting the curds from that milk. But we're going to leave you guys with that for now, as we're going to head back to the Porsches, and back with Ken Housel, ladies and gentlemen.
It looks like Ken Housel down into third. I'm looking at the timing and scoring. It looks like Jack Chrissie's gotten back and out front Zippy Colin Denner down to second, Housel in third, but Housel having to fend off Franz Hansen now, who's caught up to the back of Housel after he was battling for Jack Chrissy with a number of laps. But Kevin Zhu lurking in the background, getting ever so closer as we see Ken Housel here. It looks like he's going to go off in Canada corner into the kitty litter. That allows Hansen to close right up on the back bumper.
Yeah, and that is how the battle started, ladies and gentlemen. That's why it's got Ken Hauser dropping back, just going back a little bit too deep there. And Franz Hansen was there and absolutely capitalized on that. We're going to stay with this replay for the minute because let's be real, they were side by side. And yep, okay, they managed to get each other sorted out. But certainly that's why it's got them two guys going in a fight. But we're going to go back to these guys again. It's Jonathan Crane and Will Brummer. Will Brunner, ladies and gentlemen. And yep, Chris Harp very much lurking in the background. I think he's going to be looking to try and get involved in this freeway fight.
Yeah, Harp, trying to remember, I think Harp was one of the drivers we were told either in week 1 or week 2 is a relatively new driver to iRacing. So well done by him right now, sticking on the back of Crane and Brunner for this three-way battle for 6th spot currently overall and in the Porsche Cup class. So although it looks like Brunner able to leg out a little bit over Crane down that front straight. I didn't pick up Zippy. Are they running a fixed setup here tonight, or are they running open setups? I'm wondering if some of these guys might be running a little less downforce if they're all stuck with the fixed setup, similar setups. So be interesting to have a look at that later. But it looks like Brunner might have had a little more top speed down the straight. He's now opened up a couple tenths, maybe even a second or so over Jonathan Crane. Jonathan Crane having to battle with Chris Harp now, as he's seeing William Brunner drive away out the front windshield.
Well, I'm going to try and look into finding out that for you in just a second here. I just see I found a thing that has the supplemental regs. Give me a second there, Rob. You keep calling the action. I'm going to have a quick read of the rather beautiful craftsmanship here from Ken Housel.
Not a problem, as we're still riding on board here with Jonathan Crane. Looks like Jonathan picked up a couple tenths there over Chris Harp. Chris Harp not ready to let him go, though, but Crane is trying to make a name for himself here, trying to move away. But we're seeing, I mentioned it earlier, Will Long was starting to lurk in the background of this battle. We can see him now. Looks like Long is only about 8 tenths back of Chris Harp. So this might be a 4-way battle for 6th spot in the Porsche Cups very shortly here. Crane doing well. He's starting to close down the gap on Brunner up ahead. That gap now at about 7 tenths. I had a look earlier when we first went back to them. It was about a second and a half. So Crane's starting to find a little speed. He's in the draft now, Brunner, as they head down the front straight underneath Barney's flag stand and into turn 1. Crane utilizing that draft as much as he can. Not close enough to make a move on Brunner. Brunner's going to hold on to 6 as it is to start this lap 9. So we're just past the halfway mark. Looks like we're probably been going about, I can say, about 17, 18 laps here tonight. So still plenty of time for our drivers to make a move. We jump back to the CTS class, Cadillac CTS class, on board with Michael Montello, the elder of the Montello brothers, currently in 13th spot. Anthony Montello has just taken over that spot from Michael as they do a little switch, as we see why that was. Michael loses the back end. I mentioned earlier on, it's easy to lose the Cadillac rear end if you start downshifting too quick, and we just saw that happen for Michael. But unfortunate for him, but fortunate for us, it puts the Montello brothers nose to tail as we've seen them battle in weeks past, and they've never failed to provide excitement, Zippy.
Oh, absolutely not. And I did read through the supplemental regs there, and it mentioned no point did it mention if it was a fixed setup. Certainly, let's have a quick look in the Discord as well. Maybe these guys are actually hanging out. Nope, nobody wanted to come in for an interview during the race today. Certainly it's something that we have offered here at Pit Road Productions. We'd absolutely love to see you guys during the race. And I'm getting a request here from Michael Decker. Any video on lead change? So let's have a quick look back and take a peek, see if we can find out what's going on. In the meantime, we're going to leave you there with Jonathan Crane and Will Brummer.
Yeah, while Zippy looks to see if he can find where Jack Christie made the move on Colin Denner, we'll pick back up. Jonathan Crane's gotten around William Brunner now. It's going to promote Crane back up into 6th spot. Brunner down to 7th. Chris Harp, Will Long, not too far back. Oh, here we go. We picked up the replay of Chrissy making the move on Denner. Looks like Chrissy used up all the curbing and kitty litter on the outside of turn 5 that he could. Housel was right in there too as well. 3 cars.
Oh, bump!
Again, Housel gives Jack Chrissy a little bump draft, a little NASCAR action there. little extra boost. Denner was able to hold it off, but Chrissy looking hard on the back end, got a little loose there, but not sure that was that's Denner's still out front, so I'm not sure if that was the pass, but that was a hell of a battle going on there
Well,
between
we will
those
keep
three
looking.
cars. That was a little earlier on. I think we saw that one, I believe, on stream where we saw Chrissy and Housel going too wide through the carousel, but amazing how all three of those drivers were able to hold on to it.
Oh, here you go. I found the right pass here, ladies and gentlemen. And this is the move that Jack Chrissy managed to get done on Colin Denner. It looks like Denner's just absolutely sent it a little bit too far wide. And I guess that was it. A very brief display and exactly what Jack Chrissy needed to regain the lead.
Yeah. We picked back up.
That's Chris Hart.
Loses it in turn 5. Keeps it off the wall, though, Zippy. He's able to get back on track. But fortunate for him, he had a strong race going at this point in time. Looks like nobody contacted him, just a self-spin.
I do believe, I wonder if he caught the grass or maybe just locked up a little bit.
She just came in a little too hot. It looks like carrying a little too much speed. But that's going to drop him back into the Cadillac field. So see how he manages there. He's in the top end of the Cadillac CTS field. Was the two Montello brothers battling it out.
Oh, there we go. Well, it is indeed the battle of the Montellos, and certainly it's been some of our favourites here on Pit Road Productions for the WDCR SCCA Virtual Racing League. And certainly, remember, it was before we had the red and blue M2 versus the green and gold M2. Well, in this case, it's the Cadillacs where they're going to be fighting out, and you can really hear the tyres absolutely squealing. And it looks like Michael Montello, this may be the run that he's looking for. He's riding right up to the back. And, yep, he's going to be able to get it done. Well, I say get it done. He's side by side with his brother. Certainly, maybe about a foot gap in it at best, and you can see there the American muscle machine there of Michael Montello not quite able to get that move done.
Yeah, it looked I kind of held my breath there for a minute, Zippy. I believe it was Anthony on the inside, got a little squirrely under braking, so the back end kind of shimmy a little bit. I was hoping that he was able to gather up, wasn't going to slide sideways and take the two of them out. He was able to do it, but they're gonna renew the battle into turn 1. Looks like Michael not quite close enough to get enough draft to make a move into turn 1. He's gonna have to try and hold tight for a couple corners and try and make a move into turn 5 down the short little straight where we saw Colin Denner and Jack Chrissy's pass for the lead moments ago.
Well, certainly, I think this is going to be a absolutely fantastic race, and yeah, definitely a first for us doing a multi-class. We've literally got 2 races we're commentating at once and trying to keep on top at once, and by all means, no worries there to Michael Decker. If there's a bit that you feel we've missed, by all means, tell us now, and then that way we can actually try to go back and find it for you. But the action is indeed carrying on, and it's the Cadillacs that are delivering right now, with Michael Montello and Anthony Montello really getting in the action. The closest Porsche battle is still Jonathan Crane and William Brunner. They're currently fighting for 6th place.
Yeah, we're used to seeing the Montello brothers battle it out. Generally clean racing is, and without being said, neither one's going to take each other off, as we see Michael doing a little bit of landscaping out there, saving the grounds crew a couple swipes with the lawnmower. It looks like they're catching up to the back of, I believe that's Page in the Porsche Cup ahead. Jarrett Page, he's going to be a couple laps down. But see the speed difference there between the Cadillac and the Porsche, although I think that Porsche might be hurting a little bit. The Cadillac's easily moved around through the sweeper. As we kind of look to see if there's any damage on Page's car. And looking fairly clean. I think he was just realized he was a lap down, just let those 2 cars head through.
Well, certainly we've been keeping an eye on the notifications there, and he has had a little bit of a brief pit stop through the window there. Colin Denner's helmet. I do need to get you a helmet cam sorted out. This one request we get from Karting 77 is to see Colin Denner's helmet, and we do not have a helmet cam, I'm afraid to say. Certainly, but you know what? We will try and do at the... I'll try and capture it at the end. I'll be honest, it'll be a little bit greasy in complete honesty, but just so that way we can try and satisfy your request to see Colin Denner's helmet, we may indeed give that a go. Certainly we'll get the interviews and stuff done before that, but this could be the chance that Michael Montello's been looking for, and you can see getting squeezed there by his brother. Yeah, I thought they was going to go even tight, and certainly my kind of antics is, side by side as they go round turn 1, almost in beautiful unison there. Absolutely fantastic, and they're still side by side as they head down to turn 2.
Yeah, older brother Anthony wasn't ready to let little brother Michael just have that one easy
Whoop.
into turn one. Tried to squeeze him into the wall, as you mentioned, Zippy, but Michael was able to make the move, hold off as it was into turn three. But Anthony trying to fight
Squeeze.
back inside. Michael's starting to try and squeeze big brother Anthony to the right. So they head down into turn five, both allowing a lot of space here into turn five. Nice gentlemanly racing there between the two of them. So Michael's going to hold on to that spot. Anthony, a little wiggle off there. Going to try and do the crossover into turn six. Oh, I think they touched a little bit there, Zippy. Anthony kind of opening Michael up into that corner. Michael's going to have the inside line, though, for the next set of corners if he can hold on to it. Anthony powers around the outside. That's going to move him up into 13th spot. We'll see if there's any late braking by Michael's trying to move back around. A little later on the brakes, but not able to maintain that speed through the carousel. Looks like Anthony's going to close off Michael's front nose, keeps him at bay. In through the carousel and into the kink they go. I don't suspect Michael will look to the inside. Through the kink, he'll hold off and try to make a move into Canada corner.
Well, I have just got a notification that Tom Gorman has crashed. He was leading the Cadillac field, so we're going to have to go back and look at that in a little bit. But for now, we're going to stay with this battle between the Montello brothers. This has been the, I think, so far, some of the best entertainment we've seen in the Cadillac field, and that was definitely a little bit of a send there. Bruv, he just goes, excuse me, bruv, that's my seat at the table. Goes to try and get it done. Not quite able to get it done at this point, but they do have the impending car behind them. Let me see, who is that now? They are actually going to probably catch up at this rate. Yeah, Albert, a little bit of another wiggle there. So Albert is currently 1.5 seconds back, and if these guys keep scrapping, we're going to have a three-way fight in the caddies.
Yeah, we can't really ask for much more as far as the battles between these two. We're on here very clean, very gentlemanly. Moves to pick up Tom O'Gorman. Let's see what happened to him as he was flagged as having a crash. Did he go a little deep in turn five here? He's just going to lose the back end, as we saw a number of drivers do. But I believe he was able actually to hold on to first place. Oh, no, he lost first place to Mike Leader as Mike Leader comes around here. Only one spot lost out of that, Zippy, so it could have been a lot worse. He had enough of a gap built up that even that spin, he was able to still hold on to second. I believe he's only 2.5 seconds back of Mike Leader, currently leading the Cadillac field. So with under 3 minutes to go, I'm not sure O'Gorman will have enough time to try and retake that position.
Well, certainly he's going to need to pull something out of the exhaust pipes of that car to be able to get it done. It's the same thing there for Franz Hansen. He's, as I say that, he's just gone and done a little bit of the lawn mowing. Actually, we're getting a little bit of lawn mowing, mentioned there in the chat. Lawrence Lawnmower Racing is a sponsor of his helmet, and that's for, has it gone, Colin Denner, who's currently in second place, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, Ken Housel, he's just caught up quite suddenly as Colin Denner took a little bit of a scenic route, or nothing on the radar, ladies and gentlemen. So we may indeed, this pack at the front actually closing down a little bit there. Colin Denner, he's there in the number 73. Ken Housel, Franz Hansen, we may have a fight at the very end. Tom Gorman, he's now caught up to Mike Leader as I see a huge plume of dust ahead. I think we're going to have a battle for the lead of the Cadillacs as well.
Yeah, we're getting down to the last few laps, Zippy, and not surprised we're seeing Ken Housel put a push on at the end. We've seen him almost every week. Last 5-10 minutes of the race really start to make a push towards the front, so not surprising to see him do that now as we see O'Gorman has caught up to the back of Leader. I believe this could be the last lap. Are we getting the white flag here? Can't see if Barney's waving anything or not, but we're down to a minute and a half. I believe this should be the last lap. I don't think they'll have enough time to complete 2 more laps, so we'll see if Leader's able to hold off O'Gorman, who's been our leader of the Cadillac class from the drop of the green flag. So Leader has now become the leader from the leader who was the leader.
Oh, it looks like Mike Leader may indeed be pebble dashing a little bit there, both with the debris and maybe in another scenario as well. As you can see that debris from the iRacing's new system. Yeah, there you go, spotted cow look. Certainly adding maybe a little bit of James Bond antics going on, but this could be what decides the lead for the Cadillac, and it looks like Tom O'Gorman looking to regain that spot. Leader able to hold on for now. The brake road is absolutely glowing, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly if you wanted a deep dish pizza, you may want to borrow one of these after the race. You certainly got the temperature to get that done. Might be a little bit singed and taste a little bit of carbon perhaps, and maybe a little bit of asbestos if they were still using it in the brake pads at that point. But certainly maybe not the best cooking utensil. But right now, this battle is absolutely cooking. Mike Leader there in front, currently shown as up 10 positions, but don't really hold me to that. Certainly the timing and scoring a little bit confused by the multi-class at this point. Quick check-in on the Montello brothers. They've kind of spread out a little bit. Albert Nigo, he's there under a second to go, but we're going to go back to the front because it looks, ladies and gentlemen, it's between Colin Denner, Ken Housel, and Franz Hansen. Now, Hansen's been applying the pressure all race long. Is this going to be what it's going to be? Certainly, O'Doo's got to check in. Is Jack Chrissy going to cross the line? Yes, that's a win for Jack Chrissy. He's very much needed that. And Colin Denner won't be able to score points there, but Colin Denner, he's going to take it home in second. Ken Housel in third, and Franz Hansen in fourth. We're going to go back here, side by side as they go round Canada corner.
Yeah, it looks like O'Gorman trying to make a move on the inside of Leader. O'Gorman's going to make that stick. He's going to run a little wide. Leader tried to take and cross him over, but O'Gorman just too much speed on the outside there through the final corner. And just a run up the hill, Zippy, to the start-finish line where Barney will be waving the checkered flag. So nice recovery by O'Gorman, who started on pole in the Cadillac class. A little bit of incident there a few moments ago. Able to recover, retake a P1, but nice run by Mike Leader, who I'm showing, as you mentioned, up 9 spots from where he started in this one. But if that holds true, nice run for him. And then Adam Kobach, I believe, brought it home in 3rd place of the Cadillac class. We see a replay here of O'Gorman throwing it deep on the inside through Canada corner on Leader, forces him to run to the outside into the debris. That probably held the Leader back a couple of tenths there from getting back into the throttle, and that's all O'Gorman needed to retake a top spot in the Cadillac CTS class.
Well, certainly I was glad we was able to catch that battle. And absolutely, honestly, that was busy. I mean, there wasn't a dull moment for us there on the grid. A couple of cars still going over. We're going to give this guy a little bit of screen time. Eddie Kilarakis certainly had a little bit of a hard time here with the Porsche, but certainly, you know what, power to him, he's still going. Cameron Goof, one of the newcomers here to iRacing, with a little bit of unfortunate timing, decides to take a leaf out of David Hasselhoff's book and spend a little bit of time at the beach there. But that's actually Eddie Kilarakis. We may get a battle here. Don't get me wrong. It's an interclass. Ooh, maybe not.
Oh, no.
Doink.
Oh.
Sorry, Eddie. That was, I tell you what, though, that was the best off we've seen for this race.
And he's going to get it to the line either way, Zippy. So well done for him. Just unfortunate. A little bit of a little too much tire onto the curbing there, under throttle, and around he went. Sure, those tires have been all but used up after 30 minutes here around Road America. Real high speed track, real easy to eat up the tires in the Porsche Cup. But I believe we've got everybody across the line at this point. I don't look like we're waiting on anybody at this point in time. Zippy, are we?
I don't believe we are, but let's have a quick look at the results. I'm not quite sure how these are going to show up, ladies and gentlemen, so please bear with us. I think we're going to be all right. Rob, do you want to do the honors, though? Because I'm having a hard time reading it today.
Yeah, not a problem. And we saw Jack Chrissy kind of, I don't know if he's rid himself of the demons the first 4 weeks. And he's been able to gather himself up. He's going to take the win in this one. Colin Denner holds on to P2 after a late charge from Ken Housel in 3rd spot. Franz Hansen in 4th. Kevin Zoo's going to round out the top 5. Jonathan Crane in 6th and Will Long in 7th. We'll go through the rest of the Porsche with Chris Harp and William Brunner, Eddie Karakis, and Jarrett Page ran out the Porsche. And then we have the winner in Cadillac. Tom O'Gorman takes it from Mike Leader and Adam Kobach rounding out the podium. Michael Montello, Anthony Montello in 4th and 5th in the Cadillacs. Albert and Go in 15th overall. 6th in the Cadillacs. Louis Lacey in 7th. Cameron Guth in 8th. John Holloway in 9th. And Ido Waxam rounds out the 10th. And final spot in the Cadillac CTS V class.
Well, definitely a very interesting race indeed. Oh, excuse me. And I got to say, the chat very busy as well. I do understand here, I'm reading what Karting 77 put. Colin just got a racing deal with me, Ryan, for MGM Motorsports. He's going to be karting in 2025. So I got to say, that's absolutely friggin' awesome. A little bit jealous. If you want to have a kart over here in Nova Scotia, I will happily represent your colors, your team, everything, obviously for the right price of a kart. Very happy to do so. And not only that, if you want some Pit Road Productions logos on those karts, I will be happy to send them over to you. I have been in talks with a certain Radical driver as well, and we may be seeing the Pit Road Productions logo on a brand new Radical SR3. So that is absolutely, for lack of better words, that's orgasmic, I'm sorry to say, ladies and gentlemen. absolutely orgasmic. And I do understand that we managed to get some people here waiting for interviews. Look at that. Ken Housel absolutely delivering today. We got Ken Housel, Mike Leader, and Colin Denner. So let's see. We got a second, a third, and a second. I guess race winners, you know what? They're just like, I won, screw you guys. But Rob, who do you want to take first?
Let's talk to we've talked to Ken Housel and Colin Denner most of the week. So let's give Mike Leader a chat here. We'll see how his race went.
Well, do the honors there, Rob. I'm going to get this stuff geared up for the replay, and you can talk to P2 in the Cadillacs, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome in, Mike. We saw your battle there the last few moments with Tom O'Gorman. You were able to snatch away first after it looked like Tom had a little bit of a excursion in turn 5, and then you weren't quite able to hold him off, but tight battle between the two of you through the last few corners and the last lap. How was your race out there tonight, Mike?
I was trying to be a little cleaner than I was this weekend in some official races, so I was trying to play it a little safe. I did feel like I kind of gave him a little bit too much room in the second to last corner, but you learn that in the replay. At the end, I just want to finish.
Yeah, well, we had a little bit of discussion too as well, Mike, that your paint scheme on your car looks like a bit of a dairy cow. Was that in a little bit of a throwback, being the Curd Derby and being at Road America with all the Sargento cheese signage, or was that just a happy coincidence there tonight?
So I'm from Wisconsin, and that's where I live now. And the livery is Spotted Cow. It's a farmhouse ale that's only available in Wisconsin. It legally cannot be sold outside the state. So yeah, just representing the local fine farmhouse ale.
Oh, nicely done. Anybody you want to give a shout out to, Mike, before we let you continue on with your evening?
Thanks to my girlfriend for letting me do this stuff before we leave to Mexico tomorrow morning.
Oh, nice. Whereabouts in Mexico are you heading?
We are headed to Puerto Vallarta.
Nice. Enjoy, and don't get too sunburned while you're down there, Mike. We need to see you be able to use your arms and compete out there again next week. So we'll talk to you later. Have a great trip.
You too. I won't be here next week. I'll still be in Mexico, but I'll see you the week after. Thanks, guys.
Oh, you're not going to take your sim rig with you?
I don't think the internet's too good there.
Have a good trip, Mike. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Mike Leader, who managed to get the second place there in the Cadillacs. And I'm actually going to bring in, we'll keep the second places going with Colin Denner. Now, Colin, what an absolutely fantastic battle that you had there. Certainly, for a little while you had the lead and not quite able to get it done there at the end, but certainly a good battle. But tell us a little bit about what it was, the comparison in driving this Porsche.
Well, it was a lot more exhilarating, I'll tell you that. Racing side by side at much higher speeds was a lot more fun in a way. But yeah, Jack made just the slightest little mistake. I forget which corner it was going into, and I was able to get by him. And then I locked up the brakes going into that tight left-hander, and he just was able to drive by me, and the rest was history. His consistency was on a different level tonight, and any kind of slip-up just allowed him to extend the gap.
Well, certainly we know that Jack Chrissy has not had the most luck when it's come to scoring points, but with this being a non-points round, certainly it's not going to help your championship standings, which is going to be interesting as well, because we're going to be going to Laguna Seca for the next round. Tell us a little bit, how do you feel about that particular track?
I mean, considering it was one of the first tracks I've ever done on the iRacing service, it's always close to home in that aspect. But with the BMW, it'll certainly be it'll be a challenge. It'll make for a good racing for sure.
Well, certainly I've got absolutely no objections to that. But Colin, congratulations on second place. Certainly a very hard to control car. I have spent a little bit of time in the Cup car, maybe not as much as my comrade there, but definitely an interesting set of challenges and very much an unforgiving car, I find. But Colin, before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to thank?
First and foremost, definitely my Uncle Decker up in New York watching this race. I forgot to thank him last race, so thank you for watching this race. And then Of course, my lawnmower racing champion girlfriend, Lauren, watching at home, and the rest of my family watching just a floor above me. Thank you guys all. Yeah, I appreciate the support, and thank you guys for doing an amazing job broadcasting this series.
Well, certainly, we're very happy to have you guys on board, and congratulations yet again. And certainly good to hear that you're going to be going go-karting as well for 2025. We've got Ryan in the chat, absolutely shamelessly pimping you out. And I've got to say, I can't fault him in the slightest. And as we were saying in the chat as well, if you want to get some Pit Road Productions logos on that go-kart, by all means, give us a shout. We will happily provide them for you if you want to put them on the kart. Certainly trying to get the name out there a little bit more. But ladies and gentlemen, here's a name you better get used to hearing. It's Colin Denner, who's going to be starting his motor racing career with go-karts with Karting 77, Ryan himself for MGM Motorsports in 2025.
Sir, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Colin Denner. And I do understand we have actually been able to catch up with Jack Chrissy. Rob, you're here on the pit road.
Welcome in, Jack. We saw you had a fairly eventful race. This one, a little bit of bumping and banging up there. You're able to hold on to it at the end, stretch out a bit of a gap over Colin Denner in second place. So how did it feel out there tonight in the Porsche Cups versus the M2s we've been in the last 4 weeks?
It's night and day. I think I might just have some pretty bad luck in those M2 cars. So it's nice to be in something that drives a little bit more predictably, I'll say. But no, these are great cars. It was a lot of fun with those guys.
Yeah, it looked like you guys are having a lot of fun out there. We've mentioned it almost every week that you've always shown a whole lot of pace, but then something seems to happen that doesn't quite go your way. Where it was nice to see tonight where you had the pace as well, but you were able to sort it all out and hold on to it. But it looks like next week we're back in the M2s. And it just looks like we're heading to Mid-Ohio. How are you feeling about that combination? Have you put any laps in this week in preparation, or is that something you're going to wait to possibly the weekend to get ready for?
I'll leave it at this. After the last race, I hopped into a practice session right after that for Mid-Ohio to start doing some laps. So want to come in a little bit more prepared than I was last week. So we'll hopefully see. It's going to be pretty rowdy. The cars are a little rowdy there. So it should be fun. But yeah, it's just go back and kind of try and hammer it away and keep it clean this time.
Yeah, it'll definitely be a change in driving style from the Porsche Cup. So anybody you want to give a shout out to, Jack, while we have you in here?
Yeah, I want to give you guys a shout out. Appreciate you guys for everything you do. The streams have been great this season, so really appreciate you guys. I want to say hi to my parents and my girlfriend that are probably watching right now. So hi guys, and yeah.
Well, thanks, Jack. We appreciate it. Zippy, who is working the production and all the background over there, just definitely puts in a whole lot of work. So good to hear you guys appreciate it. And we hope to see you back up top again next week.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate everything.
Have a good one.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Jack Chrissy. Certainly not getting a run of bad luck today, able to get that race win. But for our final interview tonight, ladies and gentlemen, he's disappeared. We was going to get Ken Housel. All right, let me ding him a second. I'm like,
he must have heard
bailed.
you
He's
put
bailed.
out pit road
Get back here.
Zipping, he went
I'm just realizing as well, where we have two M2 series going on, I've read the wrong one, and we are indeed at Mid-Ohio, so I'm trying to update that graphic for the next round. I don't think I'm going to quite be able to pull it off, but I'm certainly going to try. But ladies and gentlemen, if we can get Ken Housel back in here, that would be great. Is he going to reappear?
I don't see
no,
him.
He's had to bounce. Ladies and gentlemen, if we just, you have my express permission to give Ken Housel a little bit of stick there for ducking out on his interview. Certainly, we do try and get as many of you guys through as possible. But you know what? It's been a busy race, and it's been an absolute belter of a race. Ladies and gentlemen, very, very huge thanks for having us here on Pit Road Productions. And Rob, as we're going to head back to the cameras now, you are indeed correct. It is Mid-Ohio that we're going to be heading to next week. Guys, please ignore the graphic at the end. We're going to be back here next week regardless. Certainly, I color code the spreadsheet, but that doesn't make up for my incompetence, ladies and gentlemen. And I'll be the first to say it, but you know what? Definitely a lot of fun. And I do wonder as well if some of these drivers are going to be giving Ken maybe a little bit of a hint for next season. You know, maybe we take the Caddy, maybe we take probably the Porsche Cup car, being a more updated and more recent car. And certainly not only that, it does have I was watching they call it PESC, Porsche Esports Super Cup or something as well. The highest strength of field I've ever seen, I think the strength of field on that was about 9.4 thousand iRating for the strength of field, ladies and gentlemen. That's not just one guy, that's like the whole, everybody averaged out. Absolutely insane strength of field. You've literally got professional sim racers in there. Certainly nowhere I would belong, but honestly, it's been an absolute belter of a race. Certainly this was an interesting mix for the Kurd Derby. Somebody really should fill us in as to why they named it the Kurd Derby. I'm definitely interested to find out. But what an absolute belter of a race. And I got to say, I'm looking forward to being back with the M2 next week at Mid-Ohio. And let's see where this championship works out. Certainly we've got a few people in contention. But Rob, you know, a couple of closing thoughts from yourself, sir.
Yeah, well, first of all, Zippy, I think if we were in the Porsche, any kind of all-star races, it'd be more like the No-Star, the Porsche No-Star Cup. So that'd be where we round out. But again, this series hasn't disappointed. We've seen action from start to finish in every race, even when we switched up the cars tonight between the Porsche and the Cadillac, battles throughout in this one. So I suspect it'll be more of the same in Mid-Ohio next week. It's a tight, twisty track with a lot of elevation changes. So it's interesting to see how our drivers adapt from coming from these cars this week to back to the M2 next week, because it can be a real handful similar to these cars. So we'll see how that plays out, Zippy. I'm really interested to see how that combo works. I've only been in the M2 a few times, and to be frank with you, I've had a hard time holding on to it. So my hat's off to these guys who have been able to do it week in, week out. In all the series we've covered, it's a car that's a real handful to hold on to, but it's supplied a lot of great racing.
Well, I'm certainly going to agree with you there. Certainly, I took the M2 out the other day, and I absolutely catastrophically failed. But ladies and gentlemen, I tend to find whenever you hear about me on a stream, it usually does, result in a catastrophic fail. So, again, be grateful I'm in the commentary booth, but we are just about going to wrap it up here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in. We're going to see you in 1 week's time. My name has been, again, I'm always doing it. My name is Daniel Zippy Salmon here at Pit Road Productions, joined by the one and only Mr. Rob Campbell. Check out Double Apex on YouTube as well, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Give Rob a follow as well on his YouTube antics. Certainly, he's been keen to get back streaming again, and he does a damn good job of it, I've got to admit. You know, and if not, you want to see me on Twitch, and absolutely don't watch it with your kids around. I strongly suggest, you know, approach with caution. If you fancy something a little bit more,
for the racing and you for the crashes, Zippy, right?
Yeah, that would be exactly. Pro driver, driver. But certainly, again, thank you very much for tuning in, guys. We're going to see you next week. And actually, what else we got for Pit Road Productions? Wednesday, we're going to have the BIS F1600 Championship's going to be here. Thursday, nothing yet this week. Friday, nothing yet this week. And Saturday, we're back for the Motor Racing Academy, Almeida Academy, ladies and gentlemen, as they're going to be also in the M2. But that's it from us today, and yeah, we'll see you soon.